This is Red FM and we are at Jaipur Literature Fest, and look, we bump into somebody surprisingly here, Remo sir. Sir, a lot of people will usually open a conversation with you with, "Arey sir, I've heard your song Hamma Hamma," right? But for a kid who was growing up in 80s, I remember Doordarshan, and there were teasers running on Doordarshan in those times. Something is going to happen on Doordarshan, and on Sunday evening, if I'm not wrong, one of the days. And Sunday evening, suddenly we see Remo sir with Juhi Chawla and just screaming, "Yahi hai right choice, baby." I think it's quite a interesting ride till now. How do you, for you to come out with a autobiography, sir, from the days of, and way beyond that, like not just Yahi hai right choice, baby. I think, that was when you were peaking, probably coming up, but the journey was way before that. First of all, I want to just understand, how does it feel for you to document? Is it like, it's like a weird feeling that, oh, I have to put everything in my book about myself. How is the feeling overall?
The feeling is mostly about writing my story, but more than my story, when I started it, it was more the story of Goa, the Goa which I grew up in. As you can see from the first 3 chapters, or 4 chapters in fact, I felt that Goa had not really been documented. And I was born in that Goa and I grew up in that Goa, and I felt that it was important to document it. Although I wrote about it from a child's point of view. I was 8 years old when the Portuguese left from Goa. But I felt it was important to me, at least, to write about that Goa. And I decided to write my story in a parallel with the story of Goa. But it could not go on in parallel to the story of Goa, because I left Goa, I went and studied in Bombay, then I hitchhiked in Europe and North Africa, and so it became my story after that.
How hard was it for you to write your own story compared to, like, making music is easy for you, right? Kind of. It comes to you naturally.
Yes.
Was it a, emotional journey? How was the process for you?
From the first autobiography that I read in my life, that if I ever wrote my story, I would be damn honest about it. That I would be totally honest as I could, as honest as it is legal to be, as honest as I could be without hurting the feelings of others, because I must not forget that in my story there are other people involved. So I cannot hurt the feelings of others in the name of honesty and truth. Just what happened in my life, and a lot happened in my life. From wonderful things to horrible things, like almost my whole band dying in a car crash, a broken marriage, wonderful things like meeting the love of my life. And I thought nowadays we have a shelf life, right? Expiry date. I thought my expiry date for love was over, and that's the time when I meet the love of my life. Wonderful things have happened, and the book is about all of them as well.
I believe that musicians are visionaries in a way, because I think their brains are wired in a certain way that probably they don't know it, but somewhere or the other they start expressing it. You being from the 80s, you've seen so many shifts in the music, right? You've seen so many shifts in so-called trends, so-called pop sounds. Do you think that all these online streams and so many distribution channels online, are they going to work in the future? Like, how do you feel about this entire shift?
Before the digital medium, record companies used to sell 100,000 albums, or 100,000 cassettes after that, or 100,000 CDs after that, and they would pay the artist for only 10,000, and cheat on the figures. And now the digital medium is run by a different kind of record company, and the people, and they are also exploiting the artists.
Yes.
So nothing much has changed. An artist like Neil Young, for example, has opted out of Spotify.
Yes.
Because, he had another reason, because they were backing up somebody else but the royalties that they pay are really negligible, to the artists. And unless the artists make this music, these companies cannot even exist. And unless the artists unite and all of them say, no, we are not going to give our music to them, they will always continue to exploit the artists. And even if they unite, there will be somebody else who will come and exploit the artists. And but the wonderful thing that, not wonderful, but the curious thing that happened when the digital and the internet phenomena hit the world is that the people started pirating music. The record company would release a CD, a guy would buy the CD, digitize a song on MP3 and give it out for free everywhere. So finally the public started robbing from the robbers. The record companies were robbing from the artists all this time, and the public started robbing the record companies. So these are the changes that I saw happening.
This is really interesting. HarperCollins, you can catch the book. Go on Amazon, go to your bookstore, pick it up as soon as possible. This has been a pleasure, sir, interviewing you. And as I always say, 93.5 Red FM bajate raho. And yahi hai right choice, baby.
The next time we do an interview, please call me Remo and not Remo, sir.
All right.
Number one.
I will do that.
Yeah. Number two, I like your fingernails.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks a lot.